Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Andrea Upting and Mary Bartito, and we are doing a candid conversation that is a follow-up from one of my recent solo episodes on being sick and tired of the word self-care. And, in our field, we probably say it and hear it. How many times do you think, even just like a day?
I feel like I don't say specifically self-care. I think how do you take care of yourself, but it's still a form of self-care. So I don't know how many people do we see, like most clinicians see a day, like 6? So we might say at least once per person and then add that times 5, times 10 throughout the session, depending.
Yeah, I think it's more than that. I mean, honestly, and so as you know, in, mental health, we talk a lot about how to care for yourself. And please, we will link to my solo episode on self-care, self-compassion, and how we really honor self-care in our Plan to Recover mini journal. But I just wanted to have a follow-up conversation really with Mary about what do you think when you hear the word self-care, and how do you explore that with your clients?
Yeah. I think self-care, I think of the generic thing that we think of with self-care, kind of like a spa day, like a pamper day. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's hard for some people, because when I think of my clients, especially somebody who might be depressed or anxious, that's a difficult thing for them to engage in. They don't even know how to do the daily tasks, so being able to be compassionate to self to figure out what it is that we need at that time. Because I even think of the mind frame of when it comes to self-care, a day of rest. It's okay for us to do nothing on a Saturday or a random Tuesday. But we get so in our minds of, I need to be productive, I need to do X, Y, Z, when maybe all we needed was the pause, really. And I can relate to that all the time, because that's me, on a, like I said, random Saturday or a random day. Like yesterday, I was free most of the day, and I was like, I know I need to do something, but maybe that something was just do nothing. And that's so awkward sometimes,
It is. And so much of, I think, this world and this life is backwards.
Right.
And, I've talked a lot about Sabbath and what does that mean, and the importance of rest and repair and rejuvenation and restoration. All of those things are so important. And to me, that's a big part of self-care. And I don't, no matter what your, background is, your religious preferences, your, ideology, doesn't matter. We know that our bodies get run down when we're burning the candle at both ends. We know that our immune systems go haywire and we get sick. And so there's really just no arguing the importance of rest. And it is an important part of self-care. I also talked in an episode this month about the things that I automated, and sleep was one of them. Yeah. I mean, it was one of the most important things that I explored. So I do think that's a big part of self-care.
Yeah. I also think when you talk about stress, it really is the silent killer for a lot of us, because I think of how we embody stress so much that it becomes part of our daily life that we don't even recognize how it's affecting us. So even caring for self could be, going to the doctor, doing those preventative measures, which is something that I think we all struggle with, myself included, because we think of cost, we think of, okay, what's going to happen? All I'm doing is blah, blah, blah. But I think in the end, it does help us, because we're trying to catch these things before it gets, worse. And then here we are stuck in something, harder than what could have been prevented earlier,
Yeah. So part of self-care is, attuning to your body, attuning to your mind, attuning to your soul, and prioritizing that so you can be preventative.
Yeah.
Not reactive.
Right.
Because by then it's more expensive.
Exactly.
It's a big problem. It might not be something that can be resolved on its own. So that is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
And I think too, when you talk about the shift, our society, that's one thing I talk with my clients about, because my way of explaining it to clients is we're a go, go, go mentality. there is no pause throughout the day. And when we do have that pause, right, it's that awkward, I need to do something, because we're told, I think our value is productive. Productivity is linked to what we do. So if we stop to, like, take a breath, rest, do something, even though we know we need it, there's something maybe in the back of our minds, at least for me, it's like, no, you got to do something. You're seen as lazy or blah, blah, blah. So now we're adding more to that stress and pressure, even though we know we can't keep doing this. And it's affecting us in so many ways.
Yeah. And so I think it's linked to not just what we do, but to who we are.
Right.
And it becomes part of this identity that's like, who am I if I'm not doing?
Right.
You know, doing, going, responding, meeting the needs. And so much of it, you know, is really done out of like a good place in people's hearts, and like a desire to care, a desire to nurture, a desire to serve, but it's making them sick.
Right.
It's making them sick, and it's causing stress and resentment.
Right.
Yeah. And so like when I think about self-care, I really think about like that's the only thing that medicates resentment in this society. You know, so it's like if I'm trying to, yes, care for self, but I'm trying to keep resentment at bay so that I can better like or more genuinely love people, I have got to prioritize my self-care.
Right.
And you know, we know, and we're not going to use the analogy of the oxygen mask in the plane, but we know that we put our oxygen mask on first so that we can save or care for or protect or love others. Because we can't pour from that empty cup. Like, yes, we know that cliche term, but I think it's also about making sure we're not harboring and carrying negative emotion and resentment. And so I also think about the clients that have negative core beliefs that they don't deserve good things. It is almost painful for them to care for themselves. I mean, like their response to it is visceral. And so there are a lot of us out there that aren't just programmed to go, 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 do. It's also a lot of people carrying that negative core belief that I'm not good enough, that I don't deserve. I mean, all of these things just make it hard.
Right.
And so like we honor you if you are struggling with loving yourself and caring for yourself, even in the smallest ways. But I guess this is an invitation to do it in small ways, not the pamper yourself, like R&R, like I'm gonna take a whole weekend with the girls and we're gonna get our faces done. And no, those are nice. And please do schedule those once a year. But that's not the regular type of care that we're talking about. So like, do reflect back on my solo episode and make sure that whatever self-care you're willing to engage in, that it's meeting some need inside of you and really challenging those negative core beliefs. All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. Yeah.
Thanks, Mary.
No problem.
All right. Bye, guys.